everyone? Welcome back to The Question, where you have the questions and I have the answers. And today, it's not really an educational video. Today, I'm answering my stepdad's questions about what was college like. If you guys don't know, we probably do because my last few videos have been in my college dorm. I just finished my first quarter of college, and now I'm back home for winter break. My stepdad, who saw my last video about college, we talking about going to college. He's like, you should make another video about what your experience was like and how that compares with your initial thoughts and feelings, because if you remember, I was not totally stoked to be going to college despite the fact that I applied and got in. That's a very broad topic, and I didn't feel like rewatching that video to see all the things that I said. So I looked up a bunch of questions to ask first-time college students. So I'm just going to be answering them and probably going off book and elaborating a lot more because that's what I do really often. Also, you're going to be seeing the perspective switch between my right and my left side because I left my selfie stick at my dorm in Colorado, so I'm holding up my hand and I'm going to be doing my best. Also, my voice sounds weird because I'm just getting over a cold, so if I start dying, I don't have COVID, I just am sick like a regular person. Okay, so without further ado, on the college questions. Okay, so the first question is, why did you pick to attend this college? I went to the University of Denver, if you don't know, and this is actually a question that people ask each other a lot. That is something that my RA laughs about. He's like, you freshmen always ask the same 3 questions, and it's like, where are you living? What's your major? Where are you from? And, why did you choose to go to DU? And I always laugh when people ask me this because it's not a good answer. If you guys remember, I chose to go to DU because it's not an in-state college, and I went to DU specifically because I wanted to be a history major, and they had a history program, and I've been to Denver before, and Denver's pretty cool. Denver is still pretty cool, just saying, though I am no longer a history major. And it's because I have only applied to 4 colleges. I applied to Boston University, which is my first choice, Hofstra University, which is my second choice, University of Denver, which was my third choice, and then Kalamazoo College, which was my 4th choice. I got into 3 of those, which was Hofstra, DU, and Kalamazoo, and I went to DU because basically my dad obsessed over Hofstra so much that I hated it. I made a lot of friends at Hofstra. I visited the Hofstra campus, and it's a nice campus, but also Long Island is so boring, and I couldn't stand it there. So I went to DU instead, and I don't regret my decision, but I think that's just because I don't know what my life would be like if I went to any other college. But also, only applying to 4 colleges is usually not a good thing. If you ask any of my friends, they all applied to 9 to 10, some people even applied to 25 colleges. But it's all about how much money you have, because you have to pay to send out your SAT scores, and you have to pay for admission. So I only applied to 4 because those are the 4 that had that my school paid for. I didn't pay for those. But yeah, a lot of my friends have a lot more money than me. So yeah, what was your freshman experience like? That's a broad question, but overall, looking back on it, I'm gonna say it was very good. But if you were in contact with me throughout the experience, it definitely had its ups and downs. Not really because the experience itself was bad, just because I am a person who's had a really interesting life, and I have a lot of mental illnesses, including depression and anxiety, and so a lot of broad changes early on wasn't very good, and because I have an idealized mindset of what life should be like, not having those expectations met, it's like going to high school, and it's not like High School the Musical. Going to college is not like all those 80s movies, we're not going to be in Legally Blonde and all that kind of stuff. It's just there, and so I really got there initially, and I realized that I am just as miserable there as I am here in Washington, which is a very pessimistic way to look at it, because I'm also just as happy here with the friends I've made and the experiences I'm having as I am here in Washington. So basically, going to college in the short term hasn't improved my life greatly. I think definitely I've grown as a person, and that you could say is an improvement. I'm finding myself more, getting more out of my comfort zone, which is really good. So I really optimized the choices I have in life by going to college. But in terms of like short-term satisfaction and instant gratification, there's not really a big change between high school in Washington State and university in Colorado. Okay. Do you feel there's good support transition program for freshman students? I don't think so. I don't think there's any good like program. We had orientation week, and that wasn't good. That was just confusing. But there are good people there to support you. But it's not like everyone has the same person. Like, I got really lucky. I have an extremely good RA. I had a really good orientation leader, and my freshman seminar, we have a thing called FSEM, so it's like a required course that freshmen take, and their teacher kind of becomes their advisor for that first year until they declare a major. And I got really lucky that my RA and my orientation leader and my FSEM professor were really, really good, but a lot of my friends didn't have that same experience. So either they don't know their RA that well, or their FSEM professor kind of sucked, or a lot of them are in the DSP program or JET programs. Basically, they have like learning disabilities that they need help with, and so they get assigned a counselor. But the counselors aren't that good. The DSP program is not that good. But so I think overall, there are people who are definitely willing to help freshmen, but there's no real program, and the people that are in specific programs aren't always the best. Okay, what is your favorite thing about this college? Favorite thing? I don't know, it's very pretty, it's very small, so even though I have to walk kind of far and there are long walks between classes, it's not that long. Like, it could be longer, and there's a lot of really good places to eat around campus, a lot of easy access things. Least favorite thing about my college campus? The buildings are organized so weirdly. Like, there's this one building called STERM, and for most freshmen, that's where most of your classes are, because it has like all the social sciences and stuff there, and it is organized so poorly. Like, there's no order to the numbers whatsoever. And oh yeah, stuff breaks a lot. Like, we had the fire alarm go off I think like 5 times my first quarter in the dining hall. I'm in the newest building on campus. That's where my dorm is, and our elevators don't work, our doors don't work. So yeah, I think even though it's a cool campus, it's not maintained very well. Favorite place to study on campus? Either in the basement of the library, because our library is set up where there's 3 floors, and each floor you have to get quieter and quieter. So if you go to the basement, that's where like the actual library section is, and you have to be completely quiet the whole time. And I like studying by myself because I can't focus around other people, so I go there. Or there's this building called the Mary Read Hall, and it's totally haunted. Like, it has like the scariest vibes, but I also like going there because, once again, nobody's there, and it's like surrounded by these really old books about World War II and Cold War and other politics, and there's like a whole cool history about it, and it reminds me a lot of my grandmother's old apartment on the Upper West Side, and so it just makes me feel away. So I like going there because it makes me feel sad, but also I can concentrate really well, and the view outside is beautiful. Favorite place to eat? Around campus? On campus, we just have like the dining hall, and it's okay. There's also a sushi place and a Starbucks on campus, as well as an Einstein Bagels. But I haven't been to the Einstein Bagels, but there's a place right next to campus called Jerusalem's, and it's Middle Eastern food, and I think that is one of my favorite places to go, or Illegal Pete's, which is really close to it. There's also this place called Bird Call that my friend Jordan loves a lot, and they have vodka milkshakes, and it's cool. I never had the vodka milkshake, but I kind of want to. But so I think Jerusalem would definitely be my favorite place that I've been. What are you studying there? So I went in as a history major, but I've kind of changed it to undeclared, but I've decided to minor in both religious studies and critical race and ethnic studies. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. If you could change one thing about this college, what would it be? I think if we were just better. Like, I know a lot of colleges have issues, you know, but I think in terms of issues, our college, well, my college is a lot better than most, but we still have issues of like racism. And, you know, we have a very, very sordid history with indigenous people, and a lot of roofing and sexual assault, and someone killed himself on campus. So I think that could be better if we just addressed our past more instead of just doing a lot of like performative work of like, hey, yeah, we believe women and we trying to recognize what land we're on, but we don't actually try to fix anything about it, you know? Like, it's all just really performative. Also, better DSP counselors, because we have a lot of students with disabilities or learning disabilities, and there's one, I think there's only like 3 or 4 counselors for a lot of students, and they're not good counselors. And so I feel like that should also be better. The career fair is good there. I don't know. I've never been to career fair. I have my work study job, and that's it. I applied, I got it, I'm done. I'm not thinking about employment, even though I probably should. What are the financial aid opportunities like? I don't know. I've heard many different things. I think it mostly depends on like what your FAFSA is. I don't know, because I have a pretty good scholarship to go there. I think they're paying for majority of my tuition money, and my RA I think is on like a full ride or something. But that's not the case for many people. Most people don't. But also I feel like a lot of rich kids go here. It's a private school. What sort of campus events does the school put on? Okay, so they put on a lot of events, like campus-wide events, first week, but then they kind of stopped all of that. I think just because classes got started, and so that's a large complaint I saw from a lot of people, was that there aren't a lot of events going on that aren't like hosted by sororities or fraternities specifically, or like individual clubs, if there's no like class-wide or school-wide event going on. Any advice for incoming freshmen? Just the usual cheesy, yeah, you're terrified, and everybody else looks like they know what they're doing, but no one knows what they're doing. And feel free to ask questions. Always ask questions. Make sure you know your RA. Make sure you make those connections. Like, if people give you their number, text it. Ask the dumbest shit. Establish that rapport early on, so then it's not awkward, like, down the line when you actually need them. Like, I texted him the first day, and I was like, how do you dispose of needles? And then I had to be like, I'm not doing heroin. I just, yada, 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 you know, and now we're like best friends. Well, the same thing with my FSIM professor. He gave us his number because I could go full in-depth about how great my FSIM professor is. I love him so much. But even like the next day I was like, hey, how can I contact the chancellor so I can yell at him? And like just semi-serious stuff, but like make sure to establish that good rapport early on. Also, making friends is hard, but don't try to like force it, and don't overthink it. I am like the queen of overthinking, and that is gonna get you into more trouble than just like being by yourself, because people like you or people you will connect with will come around naturally. But also don't be passive about it. Don't just be like, oh yeah, people just need to come and talk to me. Like, no, put yourself out there, join a club or something, be social, but like don't try so hard, don't put so much emphasis on making friends or getting into relationships. Everyone is so caught up in like who they're gonna date, who they're gonna fuck, all this kind of stuff, and it really doesn't matter. Like, I mean, if it matters to you, do you, you know, but like don't base your self-worth or your success as a college student around arbitrary things, I guess is my thing. How approachable are the staff, faculty, and administration? Sorry guys. Once again, I think it depends largely on how good the staff, faculty, or administration are. I mean, I think a lot of them try to come off as approachable to make it seem like they're doing better at their job than they are, but a lot of them aren't. But also a lot of them are, and it's just like you have to reach out to see. And if you get bad vibes, don't talk to them. I am so sorry, guys. I swear, I was like perfectly fine yesterday, and now I'm dying. I'm gonna cry. Oh my god. But like, most of them are approachable. I mean, our chancellor is pretty approachable. I yelled at him the first time I met him, and now me and the running club, like, we just chase him off all the time because he's offended us personally, but I'll get into that later. How do you describe the community atmosphere? Once again, it depends on how well connected you are and how involved you are. I'm not saying people are cold per se in DU. Like, a lot of people are like very approachable and very nice, but also they're not gonna go out of their way to talk to you. You know, like, they won't be mad if you go up and talk to them, and you know, like, there's definitely some solidarity between groups. But like, they're not gonna go out of their way to introduce themselves to you if they notice that you're struggling. That being said, I was having a mental breakdown outside of my dorm room, and this guy came and brought me tissues. So like, there are some really, really nice people who will go out of their way to help you and make sure you're okay. But most of the time, they'll be congenial towards you, but they won't like outwardly try and go above and beyond in their day to help you. What clubs or extracurricular activities do you recommend? Well, there's not a lot of sports at DU. Like, hockey's a huge thing, and same thing with lacrosse, rugby, and like basketball. There's gymnastics, but most of the sports are for people who've been doing that forever. There are club sports as well, and they're more welcoming, but also you have to pay so much money to do it, and I don't know if it's worth it or not. But also, like, if that's something you're really into, then go for it. I'm in a lot of smaller clubs, like I'm in QSA, which is Queer Student Alliance. I'm in the running club because we don't have a track or cross country team. I'm in the dance team, and Fandom Club, and I think one more, but I can't remember. But like, oh yeah, and then there's Hillel and Chabad on campus. That's for Jewish students, and I recommend all of those. They're nice. I mean, dance team is fun, but it's not like overly serious. There's no one form of dance. Everybody just takes turn teaching. If that's what you like, that's what you like. Running club is nice. If you're more competitive, like in cross country or like actual serious, I don't really recommend it because it's not very competitive. It's more like a group. We go on like 2-mile runs every day. QSA is definitely really nice. We have like a regular meeting, but then there's also like a family dinner every week, and it's a really great place. So I feel like even if you are an ally, I definitely recommend joining because they're like the nicest group of people ever. Hillel, also super nice people. The rabbi on campus is absolutely phenomenal. Love him. I don't go to enough Shabbat dinners with them just because I get too busy. But they are definitely super nice and definitely would love, even if you aren't Jewish, to like invite you and have you there and just teach you. It's kind of awkward though because they do prayers before dinner, which is makes sense, but like I don't know Hebrew, so I just sort of sit in the back and I'm like, okay. But also no one's like mean about it. Like if you don't know, if you're not following along, they'll just be like, yeah, you know, thanks for showing up, we really appreciate you're here, and it's fine. Fandom Club is fun, but it's kind of awkward because it's like we took the most socially awkward people and put them all in a room together. And so like the older students will sit off to the side and talk, and then the freshmen will sit off to the side and talk, and sometimes we'll get into rousing debates about things, but mostly it's just kind of awkward. Sororities, I have a friend who's in a sorority, and they seem really nice, like really looking out for each other. The frats are, like, that's something I learned. Sororities are nothing like how they're portrayed in the media, but the frats here are everything like how they're portrayed in the media. Like, all of our frats are shut down right now because 3 people were hospitalized after a night of partying, and I'm not saying they're bad. Like, there are definitely, I think, 3 major ones who are like, oh yeah, they do rape people, but we're not going to kick them off campus because we're not that invested in it. Like I said, a lot of our stuff in my college is performative, so even though we know that these three main frats are raping people, they're not going to be shut down. Well, they're shut down for partying, but not because of the raping thing. Like, it's well known that these three are doing it, but nothing's going to stop. We're not going to shut them down, like, permanently, because that sucks. But most of the time, they're pretty good. Like, there are good frats and there are bad frats on campus. And most of the good frats will kick out problematic people and, like, report them and make sure that they're not associated anymore. So it's like a kind of thing. The parties are okay. Like, I feel like I've been told between University of Denver and CU Boulder, which is the other major college, within the vicinity, within, like, this, like, they're like our main enemies, I guess, rivals, they definitely throw better parties than we do. So, I don't know. It's all about what you want. It's about what you're looking for. I think most people who join frats or sororities are people whose, like, families have been in a certain frat or sorority. Like, that's why my friend Caitlin joins, because it's huge in her family. And last question, did anything surprise you when you became a student, like costs or rules? I think just, like, how much freedom you have was really eye-opening. Well, first of all, I knew that there'd be a lot of freedom, like, you'd be responsible for a lot of shit on your own, and that was a big worry for me, was that I didn't think I'd be able to, like, get to all my classes on time, or that I would know where anything is, but, you are a lot more capable than you think you are, and there are a lot more people out there to help you than you think there are. The biggest surprise was, like, how much freedom I had, and how much you can put up with. Because, like, I have 8 a.m.s every day, so I'm waking up at 6, but, like, my friends and I would hang out, and we could drive wherever we wanted to. We could take a light rail by ourselves wherever, like, we could go downtown basically every day if we wanted to, for however long we wanted. You know, we could buy anything in the city, we could buy our own food, we could, all the things your parents tell you you can't do, you can do, and that was so weird, and it was so, like, awe-inspiring, going from, like, having every single part of my life, like, controlled, to having the ultimate freedom. And I still have, and so, like, I made a lot of rules for myself just to try to survive that, because it's like, I dyed my hair by myself. I bought bleach and dyed my hair, and that's so crazy to me. Or, like, I bought fishnets, and, like, I went to the airport to fly home, and my friends and I bought playing cards from those little gift shops in the airport. Like, it feels like a crime to do those things, to just have that much freedom. It's not even like I'm committing anything legal. Like, I'm just out there buying things for myself or getting food with friends, but it feels like I shouldn't be able to do that. I think that was the most surprising thing. Also, apparently, tuition goes up every year, and so that was surprising. It's like, it's already like $75,000 to go to this place, and you're raising the tuition? That's bullshit. So I think, all in all, I don't regret going, and I was definitely really scared when I went, and I still don't know what I'm doing in college, but if you don't know what you're doing, being in a place that optimizes the choices you have is better, because you get to learn more about yourself and how the world works, and you're not going to be the only person there who feels that way. Like, my RA was also like, I don't know what to do with myself, so I might as well be here doing something. You know, there's going to be a lot of people who are feeling the same thing you are, and it's nice to know. And yeah, so I'm glad to be back. I miss being there because I miss my friends, but I also miss my friends here. So now that I finished, damn, this is like a 22-minute long video, but it was important, it needed to be said, so thanks for that. So long, and thanks for all the fish. Be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes.